Next on the list, we have Laurna Miza. Is she here? Step forward. Welcome, Laurna. And if you state your name and who you represent, and just a reminder to keep your comments within 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Thank you. Members of the committee, my name is Laurna Miza. I am representing an anonymous parent who wishes to keep their identity concealed for protection of their family. So this is that person's words, not my own. Try and pretend it's somebody else. First, I want to say thank you to the Taskforce for taking up this cause and for giving the citizens a voice. I am a parent of children that attend school in the Boise School District. They have been attending Boise School since they were in kindergarten. They have had a great education overall and have had many dedicated and experienced teachers. The issues that I'm going to talk about seem to be isolated to certain teachers and how certain principals decide to allow their things in their school. We first started to see red flags about 2 years ago. The junior high my child was attending had a guest speaker come from the Wasmuth Center for Human Rights. They were given packets and said they had to give $5 to this organization and then go out into the public and ask for more donations. It never went into detail of what they did or who they stood for. Once they were done raising money for this organization, the entire 9th grade class would go out and march for this organization. Why are our kids being asked to march for a particular organization? It sounds like they're turning our kids into activists. If you are not familiar with the Wasmuth Center for Human Rights, you should check it out.
Whoa, I'm sorry to interrupt, but these people down here are showing signs on their t-shirts, and I'm not supposed to be doing that. They specifically moved to get there.
Okay. Would you mind, ladies and gentlemen, would you mind going back a little bit farther from the view of the camera? And sorry to interrupt our speaker.
That's okay.
Would you be so kind so that the public... Excuse me?
Every presenter you have had has been in favor of your task force. This is their only
we're not... Okay, we're not... The committee is at ease. We're not having a dialogue here. We're listening to people who have...
Quiet. Go back, sit back there, be respectful.
We're not having a dialogue.
Sorry.
We are kindly asking the individuals who have words printed on their t-shirts that are visible on the public television to kindly move out of the view of the cameras.
Kindly disagreeing. What are you afraid of? Let it be.
It's called respect.
Okay, the committee will come back at order. We've asked kindly, and we will proceed with our committee. And Laurna, I am sorry to have interrupted you. If you would like to proceed,
All right.
please proceed.
Okay, let me just rewind just a little bit. If you are not familiar with the Wasmuth Center for Human Rights, you should check it out. They hide behind the cause of Anne Frank, but they actually have views on racism that align with critical race theory. They also try to, in their own words, quote, encourage young activists, end quote. At the time this all happened, they had a picture of Colin Kaepernick on their website, who we know is a controversial figure for kneeling for our national anthem. You can watch this YouTube video that is currently on their website to see their view of racism in our country. Side note, I provided that YouTube video link to Representative Giddings and to Anna Miller on the committee to share with you all for viewing later, but we're not going to view it right now. They hold classes for teachers to take, and they try to have kids make groups at their local schools to push their agenda of change and activism. This year, at the same junior high, my child said they put up posters around the school that had the BLM raised fists and gay pride rainbow on them, and under the posters it said activism. They also had an organization in the lunchroom selling gay pride flags and BLM stickers and pens while the kids ate lunch. This should not be part of our kids' education. There are many organizations that do good for our community. Our church does many things for our community. Our church also believes that all people are created equal and that we should treat all people with respect and dignity. Why can't our children come to the lunchroom and hand out crosses? Oh, that's right. That was banned because not everybody agreed with our beliefs and values. Well, not everyone agrees with the beliefs and values of BLM and gay pride, but their organization are the only ones allowed to do this. This is not what our schools should be doing. They should be for teaching, reading, writing, math, science, not supporting organizations that support critical race theory and social justice issues. Should all people be treated equally? Absolutely. We can all agree on that. We don't need another organization with their extra beliefs and causes to be taught in our schools. The rest should be up to the parents. My child at the same junior high was asked to read 2 articles about human rights for an English class this last school year. The first one on Asian hate and the second one on ending the poison of racism with a picture of someone holding a BLM poster. Then they were told to define the words condemned, harassment, discrimination, incitement, hate speech, insidious, marginalized, racism, bias, and violate. Why are human rights issues addressed in English? There are so many different topics our schools and teachers could also choose to have the kids write about, but they tend to stick with this theme. Why not read an article on how defunding the police has caused havoc in our big cities and killed so many people who lived in those communities? Why are our kids not learning about the riots in Portland caused by Antifa? We all know why, because those are not what the left wants us to talk about or teach our children. They are getting one narrative and it needs to be routed out and stopped. At a Boise high school this year, my child was in their English class and was asked to do an assignment where they had to log into a study done at Harvard University and take an implicit bias test. They were asked to define implicit bias in their own words, then to explain how implicit bias impacted the essayist in their assigned reading. And lastly, what other areas could they hold implicit bias? This was supposed to let the kids know what bias they might have before doing a writing assignment. The university would keep the kids' responses as part of their study. Upon further research, we found that in this study has proven flaws that you could get a different outcome each time you take it. So these poor kids are taking these tests, which are recorded, and then given a bias they actually may not really have. This should not be part of our children's education. My children also feel like some teachers don't keep their political beliefs to themselves. They openly criticized Trump and talked about current events from their perspective. My children don't always feel like they can voice their conservative opinion without backlash from peers. It should be the teacher's job to have a classroom environment that listens to all points of view, to listen to all people with respect despite their opinion. Isn't that what we are pushing for? Or is that only for the ones who fit the narrative? If teachers were trained to teach from a neutral standpoint and let kids discuss issues, it would change the classroom for the better. I am sharing all of this because our education system is on the verge of becoming what other school districts have become across this nation. I'm begging parents to start becoming aware. Talk to your kids about their lessons. Ask more questions of the teachers and principals. Please speak up when something feels off. Our schools should be a place to get an education and not to be taught someone else's values, beliefs, or activist cause. Why do you think parents are pulling their schools out of public school in droves, pulling their kids out of school in public school in droves, sorry. They realize that it is leaning to one side and their values do not align. This task force is relevant and needed to keep our education system accountable. If the Boise School District really is for an equal and safe education for all, then they should welcome a deep look into how they handle lesson plans, current events, activism, and personal beliefs. Thank you. I stand for questions.
Laurna, thank you for being here. Are there any questions from the committee for Laurna? Go ahead, Isaac.
Do you know if this parent contacted the administration? What kind of response did she have? Did the teachers or administration provide any standards to justify these assignments?
Laurna.
As far as I know, Madam Chair, as far as I know, this parent was not able to do that because of wanting to not have flashback on their family. So, but that, since I don't know them closely, I can't say more than that.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Pete.
I thank you very much for being a voice for the ones that are trying to protect their families and taking a stand and being a part of the community, because that's what it's going to take to get a lot of perspective that will benefit our whole society. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Further questions, Laura.
I'm just wondering, Madam Chair, if we can get a copy of that letter, because I'm trying to get parents in my area activated, and that would be a good example for them of what they can voice.
I'm not sure. I'd probably have to ask the permission of the author of the letter to make sure that that would be okay.
Okay.
But assuming it is, then I would send it to
Yeah, if you could-
Representative Giddings
You
or
could send it to either one of us,
either
and
one
we'll
of you.
make sure it gets
Yeah,
to the
so I will
committee members.
I will clarify with the person who gave this to me and see if that would be okay for them.
Thank you. It could be totally anonymous, but it's a
All
really
right.
good template for other parents to have a voice.
All right.
Thank you.
Reverend Wilson.
Madam Chair, Ms. Mitson, you may not know the answer to this because you don't know the person very well, but my question is are you aware of the reasons that she feared backlash? Is there any way that you could share with us what caused her to fear backlash against her family?
Lorna.
From my understanding, there are employment issues as well as student protection issues at stake. I know in my personal experience, speaking from my own personal experience, I've had my child negatively impacted by me expressing my opinion at a school that she was attending. And I have also had me receive bad impact from her expressing an opinion. So I have actually experienced that kind of backlash in my own family. So I empathize with that.
That's the kind of thing I was asking. Thank you very
situation.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorna.